Well, hi, and welcome once again to another edition of Men Are So Smart. I'm Lougallagher.
I'm corvette.ronnie.
On today's show, I think we'll go into the email bag. That's next on Men Are So Smart. Welcome back to Men Are So Smart, and we're going to the email bag today. We get stacks and stacks and stacks of emails. I can't even keep up with them all.
We're killing trees left and right.
If we were printing them out, we would be. But no, we're givers.
Yes.
So we're not takers.
We're tree huggers.
All right, let's get right to it. Dear Men Are So Smart, digging that. I'm really digging your show. You must work very hard to do a show every single day. I get off work at 2:30 in the afternoon and get home by 3 so I can enjoy them on YouTube. My only question for you is, what music/songs have you listened to this last week? Thank you. I can't wait to hear your answers. That's from Sammy Welch in Talladega, Alabama.
Oh, Talladega.
Watching us in Alabama. That's pretty cool.
I love some Talladega.
All right, so let's talk about this, Ronnie. I think I can first say that our tastes are completely different.
Slightly different.
Yeah.
Yes. Not like opposite ends of the spectrum. Not like you're following rap or anything.
No, nothing like that.
But different.
Yeah. Okay, so I fortunately get to listen to a lot of music in my car. I have quite a commute from Sacramento to Woodland. And it just kind of depends on what time of the day that it is, but mostly I listen to the radio. What are your listening habits?
You know what? I listen to nothing but my iPod. Both of my vehicles have iPods in them. I run them directly through the auxiliary, and each iPod has about 2,000 songs on it. So what I was able to do today was just go through and look at my 10 most played songs, so I can pull those up, because sometimes I'm in the mood for a particular song, and I just go right to my list, my truck. I can go through and find the list and find the particular song I want and start playing that.
Can you believe how far we've come since 8 tracks underneath the dashboard?
Wow, it's amazing. And I had one of those 8 tracks.
So did I.
You know what else I had? And this was like, oh man, I was very popular. I had an 8-track recorder.
Oh, yeah, I knew a guy with one of those.
Yes, so I could put an album on and I could record it to an 8-track, except for that clicking during the middle of a song.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
And the fact you can't rewind at all. It's forward only.
Now, Ronnie, I've looked at the demographics of our program, Men Are So Smart, and I can tell you that we do have some younger people between the ages of 13 and 17 listening, and they're looking at us right now going,
what's an 8-track?
What is an 8-track? I've never even heard of that.
I'll bring one in.
Okay,
yeah,
we'll do that.
I'll bring one in.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, let's get back to our email here from Sammy. Why don't you tell us your list of songs and maybe a few words about each one of the songs or bands or whatever it might be.
Okay, right. So the first one, my number one was Melissa by the Alman Brothers.
Love it. Seen it in a couple of different versions, acoustically,
great
electronically.
Song. And I saw Greg Allman last year. Tragically, he's gone this year.
Thunder Valley?
Yes, at Thunder Valley. Saw him with Leon Russell. Tragically, also gone.
Yeah.
But we were able to see them both before, during an in-concert thing, and both were spectacular. Next is I Get Around by the Beach Boys.
Okay.
I just love that song.
I knew you would put something Beach Boys had to be in there.
And then White Room by Cream. Yep. And I'm a huge Eric Clapton fan. I'm also a big Eagles fan, and so James Dean is right at the top of my Eagles list.
Old 55 is one of those that I really like. But I will tell you something, and this is just an FYI thing from two old guys. The band is not called The Eagles. It's called Eagles. Okay, so all of you that are saying, oh, I love that song by the Eagles. No, it's by Eagles.
Eagles.
No the.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Then Elvin Bishop. This is kind of a deep track, but it's called Traveling Shoes.
Know the song, Elvin Bishop. Booked him to play at the Classic Jukebox.
Oh, really?
A couple of times. I even have the slide from his guitar.
Wow.
Yeah, I found it.
Does he know that?
Now. Thanks.
This Traveling Shoes used to be our all of my little high school crew. That was our theme song.
Gotta put on
my
traveling shoes.
Yes. And then How Many More Times by Mighty Zeppelin.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
How many more times?
Bridge of Sighs by Robin Trower.
Mm-hmm.
That is such a wow. And a lot of these have really unique guitar parts, and that's kind of my go-to thing.
For those of you that may not know, Ron and I met back in 1974 or 5, I think, and we put together a band. We both play guitar. I play the rhythm guitar, and Ron plays the lead. So any kind of a wicked lead part in a song, he's going to love that, like Zeppelin rock and roll.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also good. Mm-hmm. And then right along with that guitar part, Can't You Hear Me Knocking by Rolling Stones. Bodhisattva.
Steely Dan.
Steely Dan. Not a lot of people know this, but that might be my favorite guitar solo of all time is Bodhisattva. You have to listen to it. It is so jazzy, rocky. It's great.
You know, that's one band that's still on my bucket list. And they played Tahoe, I think 2 years ago. And I wanted to get tickets and couldn't. I asked some friends about tickets and couldn't. The day of the show, somebody called me and said, "Hey, I got tickets for that show. Y'all want to go?"
Yep.
No, I can't go now.
Never fails.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got to see him though.
Yep. And then my very last one was the group that was my very first concert that I ever attended. Mm-hmm. It's What Is Hip by Tower of Power.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that is just a hot rockin' song.
And Doc on that saxophone that he plays.
You know, and when you see him in concert, and I don't know his name, but he plays the gigantic baritone sax.
Yes, he does.
That thing is 5 feet tall, mm-hmm. and he's bouncing around like it's nothing. He does these spins. I was so overwhelmed. It was, by far and away, it was, my favorite concert at the time. It was my first concert.
Yeah.
But everybody else has they set the bar pretty high as far as attending concerts.
I used to be the guy that would book the bands at the Classic Jukebox. Mm-hmm. I think I've told you that before. And one of the bands that we'd have come in at least once or twice per year, if at all possible, depending on where they were in their schedule, was Tower of Power. And so for the 5 years or so that I was at the Jukebox, I really got to know those guys very well.
Yeah.
And in fact, the lead singer at the time, his name was Tommy, and he really wanted to date my sister.
Oh, wow.
I took exception to that. All right, so there you go. There's Ronnie's list of 10 or so of his favorite artists. I think you can tell that his genre would be classic rock and roll for the most part.
Yep.
Tower of Power, I'm not sure that's kind of on the fence, but it's kind of funk.
That leans out there a little bit.
Yeah, still though, classic for all time.
Yeah,
You're Still a Young Man.
Oh, boy, yeah.
It just doesn't get much better than that.
No.
All right, so as I told you, my listening habits are such that I'm mostly on the radio, checking out songs on the radio. And for the longest time, I was a listener of the local classic rock station in town. Now, it's not that I don't think they're any good, that station. I think that they are terrific, sensational, exceptional at what they do. They put on a great presentation with that radio station. However, for this guy, I-M-O-H-O, that's another episode coming later. I'll talk to you about it soon. In my opinion, I gotta hear a new song once in a while. I just can't hear Taking Care of Business even one more time, Ronnie. And the way that radio stations are broke down demographically now, you're gonna hear the same playlist every day with a rotation. What I mean when I say that is, if you hear a song at say 9 o'clock in the morning on Monday, on Tuesday, there's probably a really good chance you're going to hear that song again, but it won't be maybe till 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So they're spinning the rotations on you. So it doesn't sound like they're playing the same songs, but guess what? They are.
Well, and if you listen to the station long enough, you honestly, because their song list is not super deep, you could hear the same song twice in a day.
Oh, I couldn't take that.
Pretty easily. So,
and there's a new classic rock station in town, and this is very interesting too because This one saw an opportunity in the market for a classic rock station that appealed to a younger demographic.
Right.
And there's a different interpretation of what a classic rock song would be. For guys our age, it's pretty simple. Taking care of business, rock and roll, Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stone honk, all that.
Yeah.
These guys, they'll play Nirvana.
Oh, okay.
And they'll play bands as such. And so they're going after a younger demographic. Now, having said that, I grew up on country. The reason that I learned how to play the guitar, taught myself, which is evident, right? The reason that I did was because my dad used to bring over a buddy of his from the Air Force, and his name was Sergeant Burke. And Sergeant Burke would sit around and play all afternoon if you gave him beer after beer. And he played Buck Owens, Merle Haggard, Johnny Cash, Johnny Paycheck. The list goes on and on and on, but that's what I grew up listening to.
No Backstreet Boys.
No.
Okay.
Although there is a song on the country charts right now with a group by the name of Florida Georgia Line, and they sing with the Backstreet Boys. It's a song called God, Your Mama, and Me.
I'll allow it.
You got to check it out.
Yeah, I'll allow that.
All right. Okay. We're going long on this. I'm going to get to my list in a moment. All right. So, country music. And I love new songs. One of the things that I really enjoy is before I do my radio show on Saturday morning, I catch about the first half hour of American Country Countdown. And the reason that I'm so determined to hear that every week is because that's where they have the songs that are just making it onto the top 30 chart. And so you're hearing very new songs that are getting very little airplay at this point, but some. So here are some of those songs. What am I listening to right now? The Fighter, which is a duet between Keith Urban and Carrie Underwood. Carrie, one of the most beautiful women in the world.
With an unbelievable voice.
Angelic.
Yeah, nonetheless.
And Keith Urban is, if not the best, one of the top 2 guitarists in country music. And this song is kind of a change for them. You got to hear it. It's called The Fighter. Check it out. Next up, brand new song. It's called What If, and it's by Kane Brown and Lauren Alaina. And it's kind of got this choppy beat to it. What if I told you I loved you? Na, 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 na. Cool. Check it out. It's called What If, Kane Brown, Lauren Alaina. Next up, Drinkin' Problem by Midland. New band, just on the scene. And these guys, they're telling it straight. The guy's got a drinking problem. You know what? I don't have a drinking problem because I'm still drinking. No problem.
We might want to read the lyrics on that and see if we have a drinking problem. So.
Too late. Next up, it's country music. So another song about drinking. It's called Fix a Drink by Chris Janson. He's the guy that had the song Gonna Buy Me a Boat. It was a huge hit last summer. And now he's fixing a drink for you. He can't do much else, but he can fix a drink. Brad Paisley, the second of the best guitar players in country
He
music.
is remarkable.
Plays, oh my God, his fingers move like lightning.
And you know what? He still takes lessons.
Does he really?
Yes, I saw him on YouTube, and he talks about his guitar teacher and still taking lessons. He's just getting better.
What does that tell you?
Which it tells you that you can't get better if you don't take lessons.
Yeah, and you got to practice too.
Yeah.
All right, so his new song is called Last Time for Everything, and it's a real tearjerker. It makes you think. This might be the last time we ever do this. All the Pretty Girls, Kenny Chesney's new song, Making Me Look Good Again by Drake White. This guy has come onto the scene recently. He's had 2 or 3 top 10 hits, and this is one of those almost church-like sounding songs. Yeah, like a gospel church. Check it out. It's called Making Me Look Good Again. Garth Brooks has a new song out. I'm sure your wife knows about it.
Yeah.
It's called Ask Me How I Know. Took me a couple of listens to get to like that song.
My wife will like it immediately.
Yeah.
Yes.
No doubt about that.
Yeah.
Brett Eldredge, another newcomer to the scene. He has a song called Something I'm Good At. And he can't fix a tire. And he may not be able to put up a fence, but he's found something he's good at. Finally, the last couple, the Brothers Osborne, It Ain't My Fault. My wife and I, whenever that comes on, when we're having cocktail hour, that thing gets cranked up like you can't believe. All right, It Ain't My Fault, Brothers Osborne. And finally, the song that I told you about last weekend, Ronnie, I think I mentioned to you around Father's Day.
Oh, yeah.
And another one of those bands that's not called The something,
Right.
Zac Brown Band. And they have a song on the charts right now. It's called My Old Man.
I remember.
Yeah, and if you haven't given that a listen, you got to do it. It really will make you think. And I made sure that I had some quiet time on Father's Day, and I listened to that song and listened to the words. I encourage you to do it. Now, so there you go. That's what we do when we're not doing this and we're not working. We're listening to music. We love music, no question about it. And what we'll do is we'll put a link down below in the description to each one of these songs so that you can just click on it to hear if you hear one that interests you or just want to hear again or hear it for the first time. Below in the description, you'll also find several ways in which you can get a hold of us through our social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Snapchat, we're on Facebook.
Yeah.
You'll find the links below. Here's the deal. We love your comments and we respond to them immediately. In fact, that's why we're doing this whole show right now, because we got an email that was interesting to us. If you have a suggestion, please feel free, okay? Check us out on Facebook, and until we see you the next time, I'm lougallagher.
And I'm Corvette.ronnie.
And this has been another episode of Men Are So Smart. We're freaking smart.